If you are a focused learner looking to find a little bit more meaning, maybe some clarity, and just everyday joy in your routine, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating and honestly deeply misunderstood concept. Okay, let's dive into this. We are exploring Ikigai, demystifying the Japanese secret to a joyful life. Let's start with the word itself, right? Ikigai is a compound of two Japanese words. You've got iki, meaning life or to be alive, and kai, which is voiced as gai, meaning effect, worth, or value. So put simply, it's a reason for living, or what makes life worth living. But here is the absolutely crucial part. We really need to talk about a related term, ikigai-kan. You see, Ikigai isn't a logical checklist you just jot down on a piece of paper. Actually, scratch that. It's not a checklist at all. It's the profound internal emotional feeling that your life has real meaning and value. It's that deep sense of fulfillment you get when you willingly pursue your passions, no matter how tiny they might seem. To get to the real truth of this concept, here's our roadmap. First, we'll debunk the Western myth. Second, we'll meet the mother of Ikigai. Third, we'll visit the centenarians of Ogimi. And finally, we'll cover the rules for a long life. Section 1, the Western Venn diagram myth, catchy but misleading. Because, spoiler alert, what you likely think you know about Ikigai might not actually come from Japan at all. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this famous four-circle Venn diagram. You know the one. It shows what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Well, it's actually a Western adaptation. It was created by an entrepreneur named Mark Wynn, who just kind of adapted a completely different purpose diagram by Andre Suzunaga. There's literally no way around it. This does not originate in Japan. And while it's a super catchy framework if you're career planning, experts actually describe it as a wildly unrealistic ideal. I mean, it demands that you find a single magical career that somehow saves the world, pays your bills, and acts as your ultimate passion. That is incredibly stressful, and it is absolutely not the authentic Japanese reality of Ikigai. Think about it. The Western ideal demands this grand, overarching purpose that perfectly overlaps with your career and wealth. It induces so much anxiety if you feel like you haven't found your one true calling. The Japanese reality, though, it is so much more comforting. The neuroscientist Ken Mogi points out that true Ikigai is built on 5 pillars: starting small, releasing yourself, harmony and sustainability, the joy of little things, and being in the here and now. Your Ikigai can literally just be enjoying the quiet of your morning coffee, tending to a small garden, or having an amazing chat with a friend. It's totally accessible to you right now. Section 2, the mother of Ikigai, Mieko Kamiya's discoveries. To truly grasp the psychological core of this, we're taking a trip back to 1960s Japan. Meet Mieko Kamiya. Born in 1914, she was a psychiatrist, a linguist, a translator, and the author of the massive 1966 book Ikigai ni Tsuite, which just translates to About Ikigai. And what makes Kamiya so incredibly relatable is that she was juggling the whole shebang. She had a super demanding medical career, teaching duties, translation work, all while raising a family. She actually struggled pretty deeply with depression and the frustration of just not having enough time for her own passions. But ultimately, she found her own powerful Ikigai-kan in writing, and it was her clinical research that became a real game changer for psychology. Her most profound discoveries came from her time at the Nagashima ICN leprosarium. She wrote, "I believe that being in contact with the living presence of these lepers has taught me more than anything else." Back then, Japan had brutally ostracized leprosy patients, essentially forcing them onto isolated islands and completely severing their family ties. But here is the amazing part. Kamiya discovered that even in these desperate, honestly tragic circumstances, so many patients still found profound purpose. Some who had lost their eyesight wrote haiku poetry just by listening carefully to nature outside their windows. Another patient actually practiced reading Braille with his lips and tongue until they bled, purely so he could learn to play the harmonica. This proved to Kamiya, without a shadow of a doubt, that Ikigai exists entirely independently of our physical circumstances. It is an undeniable internal drive. So, from this unbelievable research, Kamiya identified 7 core practical needs for a fulfilling life. We have life satisfaction, change and growth, a bright future, resonance, which just means feeling connected and in harmony with others, freedom, self-actualization, and finally, meaning and value. Now, I want you to actively reflect for a second. Which of these areas in your own life feels rock solid right now? And honestly, which area might currently need just a little bit more of your attention? Nurturing these specific needs is exactly how you build your Ikigai. Section 3. The Centenarians of Ogimi Village. Now, let's look at how this philosophy plays out in the real world over an entire lifespan. So, I have a question for you. What is the secret of Okinawa's Village of Longevity? Ogimi Village is world-renowned because its elderly residents live incredibly long, healthy, and super active lives. When authors Hector Garcia and Francesc Miralles went there, they interviewed over 100 of these residents. They met folks like Tero Konkeki, who is 91 years old and still out there actively growing crops, or Taira Toshiko, a 101-year-old textile artisan designated a living national treasure for preserving traditional crafts. It perfectly mirrors real-world legends like Jiro Ono, the 97-year-old sushi master who is still passionately perfecting his craft. You see, these elders gracefully step right over the Western concept of retirement. They just keep busy doing things they love for as long as they are healthy. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of moai, a close-knit group of friends that provides lifelong social support and completely guards against the dangers of isolation. In Ogimi, these elders have unbelievably strong social links. They're constantly getting together for karaoke, birthday parties, or honestly just to chat and dream together. Japanese author Ishikawa Tatsuzo really hit the nail on the head when he said people who isolate themselves cannot have Ikigai, because Ikigai is just so heavily rooted in interpersonal relationships. This social support, it's the ultimate medicine and a massive factor behind Okinawan longevity. Section 4. 10 Rules for a Long Life. Okay, let's get into the highly actionable takeaways from these happy centenarians so you can start applying them literally today. Rule 1. Stay active. Don't retire. Keep doing things of value and bringing utility to the world long after your official career ends. Rule 2. Take it slow. Leaving that constant urgency behind brings totally new meaning to your time. Rule 3. Don't fill your stomach. And Rule 4. Surround yourself with good friends. Notice how these first 4 rules completely counter the stressful, hurried rush of modern living. They prioritize deep connection, a continuous light purpose, and a drastically slower pace of life. So the crucial point is Rule 3, 80%. This comes from a 2,500-year-old Japanese Confucian wisdom known as Hara Hachibunmi, which literally translates to stomach 8 parts full. The centenarians of Okinawa actively practice this wisdom every single day, eating only until they are about 80% full. It's just a simple daily mindfulness practice that maintains long-term physical health by preventing the bodily strain of overeating. Kind of makes you rethink your dinner portions, right? Moving on, Rule 5 reminds us to get in shape for our next birthday with light daily maintenance. Keep it moving. Rule 6, smile and maintain a cheerful attitude. Rule 7, reconnect with nature. Rule 8, give thanks to your ancestors, your friends, and the natural world around you. And Rule 9, live in the moment instead of regretting the past or fearing the future. I really want to highlight Rule 7 specifically, reconnecting with nature, or Shinrin Yoku, which translates to forest bathing. Using all 5 of your senses to connect with the natural world is this incredible restorative practice that physically and mentally recharges your body. And it's an easy habit to implement, for sure, even if it's literally just a daily walk in a local park. Which brings us to the 10th and final rule, follow your Ikigai. But hey, as we discussed earlier, do not let this overwhelm you. As Ken Moji brilliantly frames it, it comes from the rich spectrum of a spectrum of small things, none of which serves a grandiose purpose in life. Takes a ton of pressure off, doesn't it? You do not need to stress over finding one single life-defining talent that's going to save the world. Following your Ikigai just means developing a daily sense of purpose. It's about being your true, authentic self in all of life's small, everyday moments. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What small thing will be your Ikigai today? I challenge you to stop stressing over some grand world-saving purpose. Instead, look at your daily routine right now. Find immediate, authentic joy in a hobby, maybe a great conversation with a friend, a walk outside, or hey, simply a perfectly brewed cup of tea. Nurture those small moments, and I promise you, you'll find your reason for being. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep focusing on what matters, and go find your small joys today.